What do you see in your future? Are there flying cars, good international relations, and longer lifespans? Well, to reach this dream, we must have children who will be a capable generation of scientists, innovators, and policymakers. Children are the future of our nation. And when our children are brighter, so is our future. Education reform in the U.S. will control whether our nation succeeds in an increasingly technological world. It will create children who are more creative, innovative, and work better in collaborations. I'm Scarlett, a future educator, and this is my running mate Elizabeth, a future psychologist. Due to our future occupations, we have great knowledge on how classrooms and the adolescent psyche function best. Today, children face way too much pressure in a classroom and are taught in a uniform manner, which means only some students are going to be able to learn and succeed. Pressure in the classroom creates stress, and we don't learn well when stressed. It's as simple as that. Robert Leahy, PhD, psychiatrist, and writer for Psychology Today, wrote in an April 2008 issue, "The average high school kid today has the same levels of anxiety as a psychiatric patient in the 1950s. Now, we've all probably experienced stress overload at some point. It feels like everything hits you at once. 5 tests, 2 projects, work calls you in, and your parents are mad about your C in math. There's no way to do your best when you're freaking out about grades and your next test. Now, of course, stress has been around forever, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Some stress is good, and in the past, it has helped our ancestors to survive. But of course, not all stress is good, as we know too well. Anthony Cody, an educator who taught science for 18 years, was quoted in the Washington Post in June 2011, saying that stress in the classroom affects children's likelihood of exhibiting learning problems, externalizing problems, problems interacting with peers, and internalizing problems. This could explain why children are being diagnosed more and more with ADHD and learning disabilities. Now, if children only learn enough to pass the test and then forget the material, they're not going to be able to function very well in society, get a job, and become productive members of society. Their education is necessary to advance our society today. We cannot have scientists if our kids don't learn science well. The same goes for any profession. Any of you here today who have children or want to have children should feel strongly about this, because their schooling today is going to be determining their future success in the world. However, there is good news. These issues are not so deeply ingrained in our society that there is no hope. We can change our education system, and my running mate Elizabeth is here to tell you how.
The American education system can be saved by creating a more relaxed and open environment with a more adjustable curriculum. This means less standardized testing and emphasis on grades will help lower stress significantly. If learning the material is more important than if you can pass a test, then the children will retain information longer and they will develop a love for learning. Children who want to learn are more likely to succeed and do well in class. Creating a new and looser curriculum and eliminating standardized tests through the reform and adding it to the legislature will create a speedy path to education reform. The process may take a few years to implement, but within a few years we can expect to see some results with major impacts. Teachers should also be able to have adjustable curriculums for classes, and so they can encourage learning to certain students. Teachers who develop more connections with their kids are better to make them want to learn. This system works because it makes students want to learn and develop a love for learning, and this helps them do so personally and intellectually. If you don't believe us, just look at Finland, for example. They were formerly at the bottom of math, reading, and science scores for first world countries, and now they reside at the top tiers. According to the chart posted in the 2013 Business Insider article by Joe Wenzel, financial correspondent and editor, Finland was ranked 4th in science, 7th in math, and 15th in reading, while the US ranked 21st, 24th, and 31st respectively. Students aren't able to learn in their current learning environment, and this is what we plan to change. This solution will make significant changes to the current and future lives of Americans. Educational reform will change your life, the lives of others, including your siblings, nephews, nieces, and possibly your future children. Our plan will lead to a more educative, creative, innovative, and a productive generation. Imagine a world with more scientists, engineers, architects, artists, teachers, and doctors. This means that there can be room for a more stable economy and possibly mirror the 50s. According to the History.com website, in the article, the GI Bill, published in 2010, states that it established hospitals, made lower interest mortgages, and granted stipends to cover tuition and expenses for veterans attending college or a 4-year trade school. An America without education reform is not America headed in the correct direction. It is a dying America. This America has children learning throwaway information, learning disabilities have increased, depression and anxiety are at an alarming rise, and it is basically an overall uneducated society that is stuck in a rut. Children in a stress-filled environment are like sunflowers in the cold of the Arctic. They cannot grow. As a student myself who has been in the current education system, I can attest to the difficulties it causes, the stress it gives, and the depression has caused to fellow students. In conclusion, today we have shared with you the importance of education reform to the Americans and the future it has. It is essential for the future of this country that you vote for us, elect us for office, and help us push education reform to the top of the legislative agenda. An America without much education reform has no future, and it is not one that we want to live in. Children are the future of our education. We want our children to be bright, and when they are bright, so is our future.